9:16 on the morning show with Jeff and Will. We are back on this fine Monday morning, and joining us as she does every Monday around this time, it is all the way from the Rockland County Business Journal, is its editor-in-chief, Tina Traster. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Rockland County. How is everybody today?
We're doing mighty fine this fine morning. How is the world of Rockland business?
Oh, it is, as always, it is chaotic and filled with earthquakes. So,
Ooh.
yes, let's start with what is going on in Suffern and Ramapo vis-a-vis the Avon departure. So, just to set this up, every community wants to attract these large companies like Avon. Avon has been in Suffern for 100 years. But these corporate entities, which are quickly fading away, back in the day, still represented jobs and a lot of benefit to the community by way of bringing big workforces in and having people spend money on Main Street and in the community at large and buy homes, etc. And when these companies come to communities, their first stop, or one of their initial stops, is at something called the IDA, the Rockland County Industrial Development Authority. And IDAs are all over the state, and they are designed to stimulate economic development and to incentivize companies to come to a community, to build, to put down stakes, and to hire people and stimulate that flow of money that stems from all of those activities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we're reporting on right now is that, wait, one last thing. So when these companies come to the IDAs, Rockland IDA, what they're looking for is something called a pilot. And that's an acronym for payment in lieu of taxes. Mm-hmm. And this usually gives the company a break on mortgage recording taxes and sale taxes for some amount of years. And then on top of that, it locks in a tax structure so that the corporate tenant knows exactly what it's on the hook for, and the benefit to the county, school district, town, or village, in this case, Suffern, they know that they have a long-term taxpayer. Okay, so that's the background for anybody that didn't know that wonky stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what's happening right now is recently, back in April, the Rockland IDA terminated Avon's pilot.
No.
They had, because Avon is shutting down and is relocating its employees. But it has been doing so. It has been, going through a state of attrition for many years during the course of its 20-year pilot. And one of the contingencies of a pilot is that a company makes some sort of a representational promise to have some X number of jobs. So recently, back in April, the IDA sat down with Avon. Avon satisfied its tax payments due under the pilot, and the IDA released Avon from the pilot. So they cleared up all of their business, except that Suffern and Ramapo have both said not so fast. And they have both recently filed what's called notice of claims against the IDA for waiving something that is called, quote, recapture rights. So what are recapture rights? Mm-hmm. So if a company is enjoying a pilot and has had all of these breaks, but through the course of the time that it sees out its pilot, it doesn't hold up its end of the bargain, then typically there's something called recapture rights, meaning that company would owe the municipalities monies or some kind of compensation for not upholding its end of the bargain, say, not having the number of employees that were promised. So what's happening right now is both the Village of Suffern and the town of Ramapo have filed what's called notice of claims against the county's IDA, and they allege that the IDA acted illegally because they unilaterally terminated the pilot agreement without consulting either Ramapo or the Village of Suffern. And they are also charging in these, this is a notice of claim is like a preliminary document to a lawsuit. So the lawsuit has not been filed yet, but they're both charging that the IDA improperly waived, quote, the rights to recapture some of the benefits that Avon had enjoyed when it had terminated its pilot early in April, but a year before it was due to expire. Now, the IDA says through its attorney that that the IDA has done exactly what it was supposed to do, that they didn't need to give any kind of notice to bring Suffern or Ramapo to the table, and that they've acted appropriately, and that Avon has paid all of its taxes through the duration, even though it was up and left. Now, the building itself, this is all playing out amid the building itself, which is up for sale. And according to sources and according to real estate data, the building is under contract for sale. And according to our sources, most likely it is Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, which is headquartered in Tarrytown, that is at the table for this 235,000 square foot, 4-story building on the 11-acre site. They're apparently looking for laboratory space. I think I just said they're headquartered in Tarrytown, and this is a perfect sort of turnkey building, something that they could move right into. When we spoke with Suffern Mayor Michael Curley, he said, of course he's amenable to another pharma company or big corporate tenant. I mean, after all, that is a signature building. But I think, this time around, this is a rhetorical or a theoretical question, but, what will a negotiation look like with the IDA, and how will all the parties feel comfortable until they clear up, I guess, this disagreement. So they have 90 days now since filing the notices of claims. They have 90 days to go ahead and file an actual lawsuit. So we will see if that is the direction it goes in, and whether or not it ends up meaning anything. To drill into something very, very specific, when the agreement was executed, the pilot agreement 20 years ago, Avon had 274 full-time employees in Suffern, and they committed to maintaining those jobs and creating 70 additional full-time jobs. And then by the end of 2022, last year, they only had 151 employees on site, and because most of them had been transferred overseas for the company's reorganization plan. So this is I guess, a stipulation. This takes me back kind of full circle to where I started, which is these pilots they're good, they're incentives. Many companies will come to a community and they'll go to the IDA and they'll say, but for these incentives, we're going to North Carolina or New Jersey. And so there's a lot of pressure to dole out these kinds of incentives. However, the companies have a responsibility to maintain whatever the deal was. And I think that there's just a general feeling that goes beyond the Rockland IDA that, it kind of gets lost in the sauce in terms of whether or not these companies really hold up their end of the bargain, and especially with so much, downsizing of corporations and relocating overseas. This is the risk to communities when when something like an Avon comes calling, and suffer. And this community is very excited, but then in the end, there's sort of this bitter feeling right now that they did not hold up their end of the bargain, and so there's monies to be recaptured. Not sure where all of this is going to head, but it's an interesting case to certainly watch, because it is, again, like I was saying, emblematic of a kind of pitfall of these IDA agreements, or these pilot agreements, where are they tracked? Does the company really hold up its end of the bargain? Is it still worth it? What can a municipality do retroactively? So it's hope that wasn't too wonky, but
it's quite the. I don't know if I'd describe it as wonky, but it is pretty complicated.
Well, that's why I hope that I've unpacked it a bit.
Of course.
And people will, can understand that. This is a very big facility in Suffolk. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. And if another company is seeking to purchase this property, and it's seemingly it says it's under contract, these sort of issues can become. I guess they can delay or become an obstruction to the clear passage of another company coming in, and I suppose potentially figuring out another kind of pilot going forward. Mm-hmm. So it's a little tangled, it's a little complicated. We'll watch and see if in 90 days a lawsuit is actually filed, mm-hmm. or whether this gets, whether everybody moves on. I don't run a betting shop, so I couldn't say.
If you were a betting person, what would you guess that would happen, or could you not say at this point? Is there not enough on the table?
I would say that if I had to just take a guess, I would say this will probably end up in the annals of history, and that things will move on. But but what it might do, of course, is change the matrix and the sort of the tenor of a negotiation going forward for buildings in Suffolk and in Ramapo with regard to the IDA and these recapture agreements. It might be more like the thing that changes the future rather than something that gets resolved other than how it's been resolved. Just a guess.
Okay. Well,
but
that works.
Don't hold me.
It's too late. We've already put it in the calendar, like one of Mark's predictions for the price of oil or something.
All right.
We'll put it like 6 months down the road.
Yeah. So that's it. That's today's report.
Well, thank you so much, Tina Traster from the Rockland County Business Journal. We do appreciate your insight into the world of Rockland business. If anybody out there right now wants any more information or up-to-date news regarding the world of businesses in Rockland County, you could, of course, find that at their website. That's rcbizjournal.com. Great way to also access that information is through their social media. They have Facebook, they have Twitter, or X. We're still calling it Twitter. It doesn't matter. But we're there. It's a great place to get your news, all courtesy of their editor-in-chief, Tina Traster. Again, thank you so much, Tina. We will talk to you next week.
All right. Have a great week, everybody.